So a Harvard Business School study looked at whether parents were teaching their children the wrong things by telling them that hard work pays off in a world when a counselor and member of the Jamaican and British Psychological Society, Deborah Grant, weighs in on the research and how it might apply in Jamaica. Good morning to you, Deborah. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. So work hard and you'll be successful. This says, how often do we tell children that the key to success is putting forth effort? That advice might seem like an admirable inspiration to encourage kids to work hard as they pursue their goals. However, new research in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology suggests that those messages may have an unintended consequence, making people believe that someone who isn't succeeding isn't bothering to try. So is that the message we're sending to our kids? Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I agree to a certain extent, but I do think we put a lot of pressure on our young people. There's no doubt that young people would like to succeed and, work hard. But I think a lot of the time, circumstances and environmental influences can affect how hard a child or a young person can work.
Okay.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean circumstances could affect how hard they work?
Maybe for one example, if a parent says to their young person, their child or their caregiver says to a child, okay, this is what I think you should do. Go and study, go and read, go and do some research. A lot of the time there isn't actually any internet. There's no internet access. Many times there are outages to do with electricity. So how can a child work in the dark? How can a child work on the internet if there's not access to the basic provisions? So that's one example of putting a lot of pressure on a young person or a student that needs to study but cannot study because, they're unable to.
Yeah, I'm a football coach, and even though I tell the kids to always work smart, I have this phrase that I read many, many moons ago that says, hard work beat talent if talent don't work hard. So are you suggesting that this foolishness I've been telling them all along?
Yeah, I think it's really important to just bear in mind the circumstances. So you'll find the majority of children want to work hard, but I also think that some parents live vicariously through their own children. So maybe there's a lot of parents that, although some may be very successful at what they do, they have unintended consequences for their children because they're like, okay, this is what I'd like you to do because this is what I done. But we're living in a completely different era, and what some children may see as success, their parents don't, and vice versa.
This is true. This is very true. The point you're making here, which I'd love you to elaborate on, you say you believe that children's perception of success and working hard has changed. So it's not what we used to do, I'm going to say in our day, I'm making myself sound very old, but you say, for instance, some children may view several hours of research on social media can enrich them with knowledge to succeed in the field they would like to go into, which could be a traditional or even non-traditional field. While we as parents may say, oh, no, it's academia all the way. So we have to look at the fact that things and times have changed.
Absolutely. Another example is travel, for example. Just a child experiencing maybe a different town, a different city, that is also a part of education. Sometimes success is not defined by simple academic knowledge. We have to have other types of knowledge. We have to understand how people operate, how to navigate through life, and that comes to a different type of education, and I just think that a lot of students these days, it's like, okay, if they get online and, for example, there are platforms and social media platforms where you can learn so much, and that teaches people way more than any academic journal, a book, or any library could teach one person.
Does it not also depend, Deborah, on what is considered hard? Because my colleague here goes non-stop. I don't know if her work is physically hard, but she goes non-stop. So does it not also depend on what's considered hard work?
Again, I think we have to define what hard work is. And I think when we work hard or we believe we're working hard, sometimes it's, if you enjoy your work, then it doesn't feel like you are working hard. Whereas if a parent or a caregiver or a teacher, lecturer, suggests to their student, okay, this is what I think you should do, read this chapter, do this assignment, you know, etc., etc., that can be seen as hard because there's no enjoyment in it. So the student has to enjoy it.
Yeah, you're making me take stock seriously, because I'd like to tell Erin that sometimes, and I realize she's doing her own thing in her own way. And so this is an education for me. So we have to go shortly, but tell us in 30 seconds, Deborah, what we should be telling our children instead. What is the right messaging to give them, to let them know that we want them to have the best for themselves, but we're not pressuring them?
Okay, I think the best thing to say to a student is, work as hard as you can, put everything you have into it, okay? Don't stress yourself, because then you won't enjoy it. Enjoy what you do, and you're more likely to be very successful in whatever field it is that you want to pursue.
Love that.
Thank you very much. Nice words this morning.
You.
Thanks for being with us this morning. God bless you.
You've got to say thank you with an F. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's how they say it. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah.
You see, I'm not from London.
Oh.
I'm from Toronto.
I'm from Hanover.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Deborah, counsellor and member of the Jamaican and British Psychological Society, with some good advice for all of us this morning, Deborah Grant. After the break,
Second edition of News in 5. Stay with us, please.